Another non-poker video today, this time about removing a mirror. Here are the details. Okay, first describe this mirror and how it got here when the house was built.
This is just a stock mirror they put in when the houses are built originally. We're going to take it down so that they can put more custom mirrors up above their vanity. You see a bunch of videos on YouTube where people are throwing hammers at it, breaking the glass, using $18 worth of duct tape. If you just put a pry bar behind this, get a little bit of room, wiggle it, the glue will pop and it'll come down very simply. I've never broken one.
Alright, so when it was put up, it was just one piece, it was one mirror. Someone put a lot of glue between the wall and the mirror and stuck it up, and we need to pry it off.
Hopefully not a lot of glue. Hopefully there's going to be 6 to 8, 3 to 4 inch spots of glue if they did it right. Sometimes people like to have fun and write people's names and stuff with the glue. Hopefully they didn't do that. We'll see.
Alright. Is there a certain part of the mirror you're going for? The middle, the end?
Nope. We just want to get the pry bar behind it. You hear the glue breaking already?
Yep.
Your way across. And it's free.
That was it. It's tough to tell, but there are a few inches between the wall and the mirror right now, and it is loose, and we can take it down now. The mirror is outside. We were very careful when taking it off. It was tough to film that. But when setting it down on the counter or on the curb outside, put it down very gently, because a piece that big on one edge, all the weight is on a small spot. It could break that way, but we were careful. It's outside. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 spots with the paint that Herbs and Rye needs to patch up. So some spots like this one, the mirror came off, the glue stayed on the wall. And some like this, the glue came with the mirror and took a piece of the wall, and we're seeing slightly behind the wall. So he's getting the black, the glue off, and whether bits of the wall come with it doesn't matter, because when he patches it up, he'll fix that, but he needs to get the glue off, which is the black stuff.
So we got the glue scrape. We're going to do the first coat of mud. We're going to use 5-minute fast set so we don't have to wait super long. When you're scraping the glue off, you're going to get these little tails of the inside of the drywall. It's going to happen no matter what. So don't try to cover this with 1 coat of mud. It's going to take 2 no matter what you do or who you are. It's going to look like that. And then after the first coat, we're going to scrape it with our knife, and on the second coat, we'll be a lot better.
Alright, so 1 coat, scrape it with the knife, second coat, and it'll look best. So the first coat is dry enough. He is smoothing out the edges, and then the second coat will be applied. Time for the second coat. So the second coats are applied, and the wall, I'll zoom in here, the wall is textured, not flat. So the last thing we're going to do is texture these spots, and then the homeowner is going to paint it after we leave. But we need to texture it still.
Alright, so after the second coat's done, before we can texture it, we need to sand our patches. Before we can sand our patches, we need them to be dry. The mud that we use is 5-minute mud. Them saying that's kind of a scam. You can see on the edge where it's very, very thin, it is dry, but where it's thicker, it is not going to dry in 5 minutes. So just like before we used the air mover, today we're using what's called a heat gun. It's just a glorified hair dryer, except it will burn a hole right in you if you touch that once it's hot, so don't do that. And when you're drying these patches, you have to make sure you keep moving. If you leave it in one spot, it is so hot it will just crack the new drywall. Alright, our patches are dry enough to sand now. A little trick to have less dust in your working space is when you do these edges, they need to be smooth to the wall. But what you can do is just take a wet rag and wipe them. And that'll blend the edge right into the wall. And then after that, you just sand the middle.
And now we're sanding before texturing.
Alright, so now we're going to do the texture. If this wall was in the middle of your house and it was going to be seen all the time, you would want to texture this whole wall, because it's never going to blend perfect when you do it with one of these little texture cans. But we've already talked to the homeowner. It's a common bathroom. They're just putting up mirrors over this, so it doesn't need to be perfect, and they don't need to spend extra money, which I completely agree with. So we're using a rattle can of texture to shake it up real good. Circular pattern, match it to the texture as best you can.
Alright, the can is empty, and this is what it looks like now. It's going to tighten up and get smaller as it dries, and it'll look way more uniform when it is set. I will put all the steps on the screen in a second, but we took off the mirror, then we scraped off the glue that was on the wall. After that, we put on the compound, let it dry, put on a second layer of the compound, let it dry, sped up the drying process with the torch, sanded all the spots, and then put on the texture. And the only thing left is to paint it, but the homeowner is going to do that part.